Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Breaking Bad season finale of Geeks and Around. I'm your host and producer, Deanna Jackson. Joining me, as always, is my co-host and fellow geek, Matt Moore. What's going on, man? How's Labor Day treating you?
Boring. It's been a boring Labor Day.
That's the way it goes sometimes. Before we get into introductions of the rest of the round, I do have a couple of announcements I want to put out there. First of all, big thank you to our friends at KRNV News for Reno for supplying me with the C910 that I'm using to do this show. It's like they graciously gave this to me for my own personal use, and thank you for that. Secondly, we here at the Round would like to extend our deepest condolences to the family of Michael Clark Duncan, who tragically passed away earlier this morning, dead at only 53. It's like we all knew he was struggling with the heart attack he suffered back in July. He wasn't able to make it through it, and I think personally that the world is. He was a great guy, just a genuine, kind human being, and the world is definitely going to suffer that loss. So yeah, on that happy note, let's go ahead and introduce the rest of the round. And we have joining us here for the season finale here. First off, we have Allison Whipple joining us again. What's going on, Allison?
Not much. Hanging out, enjoying my evening. Ready to talk about Breaking Bad?
That's what's up. This one's going to be a good one. And joining us here on the round at last, frequent commenter. He is here every week commenting on the Geeks in the Round thread. We talk about him every week and throw his comments out there. And finally, Antonio Cunningham has joined us for an episode of Geeks Around. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on? I promise I'll be as entertaining as I can, as I am in the comments.
We will see how that works out. And I guess another long time is like David Coot is like, okay, now David Coot is like, now we all know he's a terrorist because he's from Israel, obviously, and he moved back to Canada recently, and that was all well and good. But now, just like it says in the lower third, he is back in the USA. Not only is he back in the USA, but this motherfucker is actually about 10 minutes away from me right now. So that's just a scary thought. It's like I'm checking news sources, making sure he isn't making any bombs and shit like that. Don't worry, Reno, I'm on it. What's up, David?
What's up, guys?
Welcome back, man. Also joining us, John. I don't know what the fuck he's doing right now. Oh, dog. Hi. Oh, what's going on, John?
He escaped this evening.
Evidently.
You can jump the fence.
Yeah, okay. And also last and definitely not least, we have Matt Crane. Insane in the membrane, Matt Crane. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
So just going to get into this. It's like, obviously, this is going to be the last Breaking Bad episode for 2012. We've had the mid-season finale on yesterday, gliding all over. And that'll be it for this year. But it's like we've got 8 more coming out in 2013. But for now, we've got a lot to discuss because, oh man, I think shit's about to go down. Things are about to get very bad for Walt very quickly. Before we go into that, let's just go into the teaser first. It's like, obviously you have Todd and Walt all prepared to deal with the aftermath of murdering Mike, which is like, I mean, that kind of surprised me that he was completely open with Todd exactly what happened and had him in on the whole process and things of that nature. What do you guys think?
I think it was surprising that he didn't try and make excuses to Jesse. Like, well, Todd was one thing, but Jesse, I mean...
He didn't make excuses, he outright lied.
He didn't technically lie. He's gone as a perfectly good euphemism for saying someone's dead.
Right.
Fair I'm surprised he didn't smell him in the car.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising me. He was standing right next to it.
Well, I was speaking of later when Jesse confronts him and says that Saul told him what had happened. I assume that also meant that Jesse now knows about Mike. Unless I missed something.
No, when he said that, he was talking about the killings in the prison.
Oh, okay.
That
was my assumption.
Yeah.
But here it's like, we have another guest for the round right here. Let's bring him in and have him join the discussion. Uh-oh, wait a second. Okay, there you are. Okay, what's up, Reggie? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Howdy, folks.
It's like, what do you think? It's like, I mean, do you think Jesse suspected anything about, something bad happening to Mike, or do you think he took Walt at his word that he went ahead and gave him his bag full of his money and his stuff that he needed to get out of town and went ahead and did that?
Well, I think it really comes down to Jesse still doesn't quite know what happened to Mike, and he's afraid of Walter so much right now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like particularly after it's like, I mean, oh my God, Walt wasn't kidding around about dealing with that list. It's like, I mean, even when he went to see Lydia, it's like, I mean, this one shocked even me. It's like he was prepared to kill her right there and then. It's like the ricin finally came into play for a moment. So it's obvious, like, I mean, it's not like the writers have forgotten about this. And that's one cool thing I like about the writers of this show. They don't forget about things. So it's like, obviously, we knew the ricin was going to come back into play. And they did throwbacks to a bunch of other episodes, too, in this particular episode. And we'll get into that later. But it's like
a flashback.
If Lydia wouldn't have mentioned this deal that can make Walt a lot more money, how many of y'all think that she'd be dead right now?
Oh, for sure.
She would totally be dead.
Not even a moment's thought. What interests me about that in particular is that we've been talking a lot about how Lydia is kind of unhinged and a little over-paranoid, but she's not very good at presenting herself, but everything she's been afraid of has been true.
Yeah.
She was worried Walt was going to kill her, and he would have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she was afraid Mike would have killed her, and he would have, and et cetera, et cetera.
Well, she brought it on herself with Mike when she tried to have him killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, before then, it's like, I think he was pretty much going to let that go, but her trying to pull that card out. I'm actually surprised he let her live the first time. That I was like, I mean, it still cracks me up to this day. It's like after he learned about the fake GPS tag on it, it's like just the way he said it is like just so matter of factly. He's like, "Yep, he's dead."
Well, when you kill as many people as Mike has, you develop a sense of what the fuck, might as well do it.
Yeah, gonna go to the store, pick up a loaf of bread, pint of milk, half carton of eggs. Gonna go over to this address, shoot somebody, spend some time with my granddaughter, have a beer, and go home. Another part of the schedule.
Yes.
I have a question. Did they get all of Mike's money when they got busted the lawyer?
Yeah, they got everything the lawyer had at that point. The DEA had. It's like, I mean, that's the second time he got ganked for his stash. I mean, that's just gotta fucking hurt.
So Mike's daughter, Mike's niece isn't getting anything.
Oh yeah, she's at this point all sorts of screwed.
Well,
money anyway.
They never showed the DEA taking the money that was in there for her. They just showed. Yeah.
They showed,
but they never showed it.
Yeah.
But legally, that's what would happen. I don't know.
They don't walk in on a guy filling up a safety deposit
things within the bounds of reality.
Yeah, they don't walk in on a guy picking up a safety deposit box full of illicit cash and then say, "Well, we're going to leave that money."
Yeah. It's probably nothing and completely unrelated to what we're here for.
That was the second drop that he was making.
Yes.
To the guys, the money that was for his granddaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was locked away.
Right, but I think
they could have
somewhere.
They could have taken it, but they never really did show that.
Yeah,
like
but
if the woman knew all the bank teller knew all the safety deposit boxes. The FBI probably got that out of her real quick.
Yeah, one would think so. It's like particularly
since he was gonna talk, I'm sure they probably went and he's like, oh yeah, and then you might want to stop by these other places and you can go get that too. So yeah, they probably got it.
Wow, so Mike died pretty much for nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely did die for nothing. It's like, I mean, he could have been gone and Walt could have gotten the names perfectly well from Lydia.
Yeah.
Right, but that kind of shows Walt's, how unhinged he's become with his sudden, spur of the moment kind of reaction. He had a very knee-jerk reaction when something doesn't go his way.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think he's been wanting. It's been kind of obvious he's been wanting to take down Mike for a while. So now it's just like, oh crap, I got an opportunity now. Let me go ahead and do it. So I don't think he was as shocked as he tried to make it seem. Killing him. I think it was just, hey, here's my shot. So I can take it.
I was pleasantly surprised, even though I mentioned it last week. I was a little. I guess I was happy to see that Walt did indeed pay Jesse instead of just killing him off.
Yeah, but you saw, it's like, I mean, Jesse thought he was there to kill him off. Was like, he went out to the window and saw that it was Walt there, went around and got a gun before he entered the door and let him in.
And everyone knew he was getting a gun, right? Everybody knew that was going on.
Yeah, he was definitely getting a gun.
I assumed he was getting a gun, but I had no idea it was Walt at the door. I thought it could have been Hank. Because right at the time, Hank was pretty much at a crossroad.
Hank wouldn't touch that door with a stilt.
Yeah.
Don't you forget that the last time that he fucked with Jesse is like and whooped his ass over that whole thing with Marie in the hospital and all that whole gag, that he damn near lost everything he had because of that.
But he had no more ties to the Blue Method. He knew Pittman was part of that.
I'll give you, it might have been Gomez. Could have been Gomez.
Okay, all right. I was like, I'd be willing to go that far.
Wouldn't have been Hank in person.
But would Jesse really open the door for law enforcement? Like, I feel like if I was in the trade, even if I was out, I might not open the door to law enforcement.
It's like, that seems legit. It's like, yeah, hey, dude, the whoop my ass, a few months ago. Hey, come the fuck on in. You want a fucking beer? It's like, I guess that one's not altogether likely, but it's like, I mean, you never know. It's like the show's going in interesting places right now.
Yeah, I'm wondering exactly what Walt's going to do now that Hank has a clue that what he's doing. I mean, Walt is out. I mean,
that
there's
surprised me too.
Loose ends left.
Well, Walt's not going to do anything because he doesn't know what Hank has found.
Yep.
I think he's going to figure it out pretty fucking fast.
That's true. Let's hold off on that for a second, though. It's like, we'll deal with that a little bit later. First off, I wanted to get into, it's like, Walt went ahead, is like, I mean, he was serious about taking these guys out. It's like, after he got the list from Lydia and all that, now it's time to take these guys out. And I have to admit, scheduling this all out for all of these deaths, 10 deaths, 2 minutes, 3 prisons. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was a scene straight out of The Godfather.
Yeah.
I tell you, when I saw that scene, that made me realize crime definitely does not pay.
I guess it depends.
Looking at that big stack of cash, I would say, yeah, it does.
Not for the guy that was in jail.
Why,
No
by
hush
the way,
money can stop that.
I wasn't clear on this. Why did it have to be within 2 minutes?
Well, because if one of them started dying and it became a progression, the DEA would figure out very quickly what was going on.
They would protect the other ones like very quickly.
Yeah,
right.
So they would very quickly need to happen before any kind of response could be given, before it became obvious.
And one of them was in protection, kind of, and they lit his room on fire.
Torched his ass, man. Yeah. Flame on.
That reminded me of the scene, the bathroom scene in Watchmen.
Oh yeah, huh?
Yeah.
Your move.
just how cold and calculated, that Walt was as he was standing, in his dining room, just casually staring out his back patio, started his stopwatch and knowing that right then, at that moment, 10 people were going to die because he gave the order for it.
His birthday watch, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many people have died because of Walt. Well, because of Heisenberg.
Oh, well, damn. Oh,
well, we're pretty high up in count now.
Yeah.
And anybody want to try that one? I mean, fuck, one person was dead in the fucking pilot, dude.
Yeah. Dozens easily.
Oh no, it's
Still
definitely in 3
arbitrary,
digits.
because the cartel deaths don't really count.
No.
Yeah, the
No,
cartel.
but
You know, like we'll put those on.
I
dust.
wasn't even counting them.
I would say it's in the triple digits.
I don't know. I wouldn't go as far as triple, but I'd say 50, 60.
You count the plane crash?
That's why I was saying triple.
I would say, or at least in the 30s
That's
somewhere.
partial credit.
Like, I mean, you have the first 2 dealers that they were dealing with in season 1. You have Tuco. You have
Crazy.
Tio. You have those other fucking 2 guys that Jesse was planning to kill, but Walt killed them first. You have Jesse's former girlfriend's little brother. He died because of all of this.
Jane.
Jane, Combo,
Gale.
Gale.
Gus Fring, the old guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, it's Tuco. I mean, not Tuco, but Tio.
Mm-hmm.
Hector.
Hector. Hector Salamanca. So it's like you take that and you take, well, of course, Mike.
Mike, then 10 informants in prison.
And then those 10 dudes.
They didn't show the lawyer being killed because there was 10 names, including a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they showed the lawyer getting killed. He was like the first one.
Huh. Okay.
I forgot his face
I'll have to
actually.
go
so
back
I
and
don't-
watch that.
I did too.
He was a guy on the phone when they hung up the phone and just basically it was like rapid stabbing.
I know, they stabbed the fuck out of him, didn't they?
Holy shit!
I was like, okay, he's dead. You can stop now. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Once you pop, you can't stop.
Yeah, watching that. Oh, gee. Watching that montage, I thought maybe one of them was gonna make it, and that was gonna be the hanging thread.
No.
I didn't think so. That's why the whole thing about the in 2 or 3 minutes that it had to happen in.
They were too clever for that.
I was thinking about that until the guy got lit up in his room. Once I said, "Oh no, they got all of them."
You know the reason why nobody made it through that is because Walt didn't plan it. Every one of his plans has had just a little bit of something going wrong, but since he didn't plan this one, everything went smooth.
That is a really good point.
Well, you do have the white supremacist, Todd's uncle.
Who are now involved.
That's kind of a loose end that might come up later.
I think it will, for sure.
He traded 10 for 5. You know, he's at least losing some of his loose ends.
Yeah.
What does he have now? He's got the prison connections. He's got Todd. He's got Todd's boss at Vamonos, Jesse, and that's about it, huh?
Well, it doesn't really have Jesse.
Well, I mean, like as far as loose threads.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
his wife.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, right, Skylar.
kid.
I mean, he obviously doesn't see Jesse as a loose end. He kind of gave the money to him as kind of a charitable act from appreciation.
Yeah.
But it's like let's dig deeper into that. It's like, I mean, because that happened after Walt went back to the hospital. Had his little test and all that. It's like, I mean, they didn't say specifically in this episode or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, after he did that, Walt went through several life changes. He went over and tried to and reconcile things with Jesse. He got himself out of the game and tried to kind of reconcile things with Skylar. Is his cancer back now? What do we think?
Yeah. Well, we know the span of this episode takes place over 3 months because that's what Skylar said. 4. Yeah. And the whole tone of the episode was about cleaning up loose ends until the end.
Well, I mean, I still think Walter's going to end up with the a resurgence of his cancer. Not what better way to end the series?
Well, yeah.
Like,
Well, we did see at the cold opening at the beginning of the season he was taking pills.
Yeah, 501 that we know takes place about
Well, at this
A
point,
year.
9 months away from now.
about 8 months away from where. Yeah, something like that. About 8 months away from where we're at right now at the end of 508.
He's taking pills.
Yeah, he was coughing too.
I've been operating under the assumption since probably the season 3 finale that the cancer was gonna come back.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. Is that very much like the Ryson? You can't have something like that in the storyline and not bring it back. And that's how I see the cancer. Is it's this big, like sort of Damocles hanging over his head. You've got to drop the sword.
Yeah.
I always felt like he was going to use that as his way of getting free. He builds up this big, empire, and then right when everyone's just about to catch him, it's like, oh, the cancer's taking me out, and then just kind of fades off and gets away, and it's like everybody figures it out once he's already dead. So it's kind of the way I always figured it.
Does anyone here think that he's going to go out in a hail of bullets, a la Scarface?
Yes.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think we.
Possible.
He's either going to go out. It's like I'm thinking he's either going to go out in a hail of bullets, or he's going to be in jail.
I don't know. He might take the Ryson with him, whether he goes to jail or takes it to end his own life.
That's it. Last shot of the whole show.
Yeah, I'm taking now. See that I could see him taking him behind bars. That I could see as the last shot of the entire show.
Yeah, I still stand by that. He's going to use it for something sciencey. It's not going to be, oh, well, I'm just going to go mow down all the drug dealers and Hank and everybody else. It's going to be, oh, I need this machine gun because it does something scientifical that's just going to get me out of get him out of the situation.
The magic
That's
science
great.
machine gun?
I know it's not a gun; it's a science gun.
Is it like the magic school bus for adults?
I mean, think it's like yeah, you don't know how to use a machine gun, but it was like something about the fact that it was like, oh, I got to have the manual, kind of, I don't know, just struck something with it. I just feel like there's something that he's going to use that for that's going to be one of his magnets, bitch, kind of.
He's going to use magnet bullets to take out another laptop.
He'll use it like a rail gun. That makes sense. I'll buy that.
I was going to say a Ryson bullet.
Yes, that gaping hole in his chest, it caused him to catch a flu and die within 2 or 3 days.
Hey, we absolutely need to be sure. It's like, I mean, the bullet might miss, but the Ryson won't. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, you do what you got to do. It's called covering your bases.
You gotta hope that Ryson don't get blown off when you shoot it.
I have to say fucking, just like put a nuclear warhead in that son of a bitch as well. Make sure you're doing the job right.
Well, I'm wondering if he might, go after Hank with the Ryson.
Oh well, I don't know if we're at super speculation pants mode yet. But,
oh yeah, we are always in super speculation pants mode.
So
I don't know. Well, first you'd have to figure out that Hank knows, and I don't think Hank's going to give up that information very readily.
Do you guys buy that Walt is out? Was he telling the truth to Skylar?
Ooh,
yeah,
that's
I think so.
I think so.
Because if he is going to attempt to be out, then Hank can't really catch him in the act or anything.
Well,
He's
right, but it's still
at the moment, but it's not going to stay that way. He's addicted to making tons and tons of money.
And I would say there's another position to look at that scenario. If he just up and quit, what about the guys he was providing it for?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They gonna want him to keep doing it against his will.
They're going to want their 30+%.
Right.
exactly.
Think
It's like,
Butler enough to keep cooking?
and
He didn't give them the formula.
Nope.
exactly. It's like I was thinking maybe it's like he could be like, well, here's the formula and whatnot. But it's like, I mean, Walt's ego is so far out of control. I don't think he ever actually do that. So I mean, him being out of the game, I could see him putting the brakes on it for a second, but I honestly don't see him going, yeah, I'm done. It's like it's cool. This whole me making shitloads of money and whatnot. And by the way, that big fucking stack of money in the storage locker was pretty epic.
Yeah.
How can he be out when he just expanded to the Czech Republic?
Well, no, because it was
He was bored.
looking at that big stack of money. That was already a few months into his whole, expansion, and I think he got to the point where he realized, where it was just like, holy shit, what am, I've exceeded way beyond what I ever thought I was going to do, and now it's just like, he's alienated everybody, and it's just like, why am, he's kind of having that whatever midlife crisis or whatever, or however you want to call it, to where he's just like, holy shit, I've done it, I've hit the top, it's like, and it's not doing anything for me now, so it's like, just get out of it.
Well, right, but does he want to give up the power that he gained by climbing to the top?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Not with his ego.
How much money would you guys guess that was?
That was going to be my next question. I have
40
no
or 50
idea.
billion would be my bet.
Figures, easy.
Yeah, it'd have to be in
A
the
second. I'm not even sure if this millions was like one of our commenters on YouTube. It's like a few minutes ago is talking about that Walt simply hires another Mike. It's like, what? Do you think they're on fucking Craigslist or something?
One did. One
Monster.
cold-hearted jerk.
Monster.com.
Yeah, yeah, that's something you just find on Craigslist, or
Well,
no. It's like
Hank gave him the idea because when he said, that's got to be much better than chasing monsters. So he went to monster.com and found another mic.
I was thinking more like LinkedIn. You know what I'm saying? It's
Emotional consideration provided by.
Shit, man. Has a CCW permit, well versed in wet works and shit like that. You can just hire these guys. It's like,
Must be willing to travel.
I mean, but there's a black market. Is there like the black Craigslist where you can pick up these kind of guys?
I thought Craigslist was the black Craigslist.
casual hitman encounters.
Right.
I guess. Well, long story still there.
Tyrone's list.
Strictly platonic.
Right. So Jaden's money says the round does not see that as viable. Basically.
I can see that. Misconnections. You, bald guy with a Band-Aid across the bridge of your nose. I was wearing a pork pie hat. Sorry I shot you.
This all been avoided.
Wow.
Yeah. I just saw that now. That just kind of tickled me. It's like, yeah, because that's no. But the very simple fact of the matter is, here at this point, it's like we see them getting in with the kids again and whatnot. Like, oh man, no. I want to talk about the scene, just after the murders went down and whatnot, and Walt is in Hank and Marie's house, and he's sitting there and having a drink with Hank. It's like I know it's like I don't often talk about just the pure acting on the show. It's like I just think that the writing was brilliant here, because like you'd expect Hank to be like, oh god damn it, it's like I had these shit going on. It's like I had these 10 guys lined up and whatnot, and he just goes in a completely different direction with it.
Yeah.
Where he's just so resigned and just almost kind of withdrawn. The man is just fucking tired of this shit.
I think it was a coincidence.
He was so close, getting all those guys to start flipping. It's like he's like right there to uncovering the whole big scheme, and it was just like it's disappointing and soul crushing to be so close to victory and then just have it all all pulled away in a few hundred stabbings. So.
Do you think it was a coincidence that Walt just happened to be at Hank and Marie's that particular day?
With that on the television.
With that on the TV in particular, yeah. That he was hanging out there on a day that he knew was going to absolutely suck for Hank.
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. That's a good one.
I think he was doing a little bit more boasting.
Yeah. Or at the very least, he wanted to see what Hank's reaction was. Where he was at.
Which brings up a good point. What do you think Hank's reaction is going to be now? Because he has a few different ways to approach this. I mean, he can ask Walt straight to his face, dude, are you cooking meth? he could ask Walt. He's all like, "Hey, you're a chemistry guy. How would you do this?" Or 3, he can just be sneaky, like completely sneaky, and just start watching his own friend. How do you think he's going to do it?
He's got to slow play this hand. It's like, I mean, because he just lost a major hand. It's like, and this is like, I mean, he's got to know. It's like, I mean, if he fucks this up, if he lets Walt know, well, fuck, he just saw what would happen if Walt was doing something that he was doing. He just saw it. 10 people fucking died in 2 minutes. He's got to slow play this. And Hank is more than smart enough, I think, to sort this. Like, I mean, remember, it's like, I mean, Hank is the guy that figured out that Gus was responsible for everything, even when everybody was telling him he was full of shit.
Yeah.
He was right.
Well, this has got to be his last thread, though. I mean, Hank, what else does he have?
Yeah.
Nothing. Exactly.
So he pulls the thread too hard, it'll snap on him. If he pulls it slow enough, it might unravel the whole scheme.
Yep. And I think it's going to take him a while just to process this, because, like, he's not going to get up off that toilet and know what happened. And he's... It's probably going to take him a few days at least before he...
No, I think he made the connection pretty fast, but he's probably going to be very conflicted on what to do with it.
I believe so too, because he actually, when he was doing the rehab, he was getting some of that money.
Well, he doesn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't know about that.
Well, right, but...
He does now.
But now that he knows that
he
it possibly could be Walt, instead of being the gambling, it could have been the meth.
Well, no, it was like
He didn't know it. He didn't know at all that Walt was paying for that.
Exactly what David just said. He had no idea that the family was paying for that. None.
Right.
He thought it was the insurance. Marie never told him.
Oh.
Well, right, but now what if he
Marie
starts
can
talking
keep
to
a
Marie?
secret? Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that's
interesting.
Now that is a good point.
I learned something new today.
You are not wrong. It seems to be the surest fire way of making sure that everybody knows something. Telling Marie. But it's like
Those methamphetamines, and that's all I'm going to say.
I ain't say nothing. I'm just sitting here, y'all.
That may be Hank's saving grace, though, because if he goes to prosecute, that's what the defense is going to say is, hey, you know what, this is a conflict of interest, and he can be like, you know what, I didn't know the entire time.
That might be Walt's card.
Is that deniability plausible? It's true, he didn't know, but is a prosecutor going to believe it? Is a judge going to believe it?
More importantly, is a jury going to believe it?
Heck no. Heck no, because Hank has been the guy that's been the champion of, oh, we're going to take down this blue meth, we're going to get it off the streets, we're going to get the guys behind it, and then he's getting his medical treatment funded by said enterprise. Yeah, they're not going to go for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. So in either case, like, he's going to have to be very, very careful on how he plays this, and definitely to be sure to not tip his hand to Walt, because it's like, I mean, while it's true that Walt doesn't have another Mike, he does have a Todd.
Yeah.
and Todd's already proven that he's willing to pull the trigger on somebody at a moment's notice, just like that.
But Todd isn't skilled, though.
Yeah,
Well,
but
when the going gets tough, on the football field, he can pull through.
Now,
I got that reference.
Yeah, I got it.
Mike isn't around to keep Todd in check, by the way.
Played Todd, played a character on Friday Night Lights. It's a football show, and that's where the reference came from, and we're going to move on now.
So, the thing is, Mike was keeping Todd in check to a certain extent.
Oh, yeah.
Mike was... I mean, that was a great moment in a couple episodes ago when Mike pins Todd up against the cage and says, if you bring a gun to a job without telling me, I will shove it up your ass sideways. There's nobody to tell him that. There's nobody to keep him under control anymore, and I feel like that's an incident waiting to happen as well.
That's
And
true.
he's also been like following Walt and being his assistant and writing things down
Yeah.
as far as
Right.
the process goes.
Somebody else got in trouble by doing the exact same thing.
Right.
I can't. I can't quite make up my mind if Todd is just kind of dumb or if he's way smarter than we're giving him credit for. Because 2 episodes ago when he talked about that whole, he first brought up his prison connection, and Mike saw that as really threatening, and I was like, I first saw it as, oh, he's just like the college kid trying to use his family connections to get a job. Yeah, I can't decide what his level of intelligence and manipulative ability is.
Yeah, because they still haven't mentioned whether or not he's even got paid yet.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's like we're 4 months down the line from him being first introduced to the meth cooking project, and it's like we saw the giant stack of money that Walt's holding on to so much money that he's like, all right, yeah, I was like, I guess I'll go ahead and slide Jesse his $5 million. I mean, what's that to me? I mean, shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think it's fair to say that Todd's on the payroll by now. It's like we haven't seen that confirmed, but 4 months down the line.
Yeah.
And that's another question. Is like, I mean, does anybody remember how long it took Jesse, cooking continuously to start, learning the recipe and being that good? Because all this thing is a recipe. So there's a chance. It's like, I mean, Todd might not be that good yet, but I'm sure he can make a comparable product because he knows the recipe.
Yeah.
Not as well as Jesse does.
It took Jesse a while to get it. A good while.
The problem with Jesse was that they weren't cooking continuously. That was one of my major frustrations with the show in the first couple of seasons was that...
Plus the whole thing with Jesse is that he was a chemistry student.
No,
Todd
he
probably never
wasn't.
took
He got a D.
Yeah. He was enrolled to the class. We'll say that much for
He was
Jesse.
an intellectual screw-up. Todd is, from what I can tell, lacks knowledge, but he's got that nice little go-getter personality.
Right, and because 4 months have passed, and clearly they've done a ton of cooks in between,
Oh, yeah.
to make all that money, like, how many cooks has he actually done enough to maybe try to stand on his own?
I think
It looked like about a cook a week if you take the montage of the houses. You know how they had the houses that were tinted montage?
Yeah.
That was it worked out to about a cook a week.
16
Because
cooks
remember,
then?
yeah, it was between 12 and 16 because I didn't start counting until a few seconds had passed.
Okay, so all right, we'll call it. We'll shoot it in the middle. We'll say 14 cooks. Is that enough to get proficient enough? It's like, I mean, obviously, it's like I'm not saying that Todd's on Jesse's level even, but whereas he knows the recipe well enough and he understands the equipment used well enough after 14 cooks to be able to go ahead and replicate it.
I would say he probably can get up to 70+%.
That's fair.
I don't know. I still think, if someone gives you raw materials, to cook a meal, and you cook it 14 times, do you think you'd be pretty good at it after the 14th time?
Yeah.
Not if you don't know everything that goes into it.
Right.
But the reason why I say that because I work in a manufacturing warehouse, and I know guys who's been doing these recipes for 4 or 5 months, and they still don't know everything down pat. So if they still don't know the recipe 100%, it's a good chance that he wouldn't either. And some of these aren't complicated at all.
Yeah, but it's like, again, it's like a cat like me. I've also worked manufacturing before, and doing a job for 90 days, I was already better than all the other new people in there put together, plus some of the other people that were there for a bit.
And since we don't know enough about Todd and how smart he may be, he may be the quiet, smart type,
You never
I
know.
highly doubt it, but there is always that possibility.
I think they portray him on the show as like a dumb but a go-getter.
Mm-hmm. I was like, ooh. Wait, what's that, Matt?
I was gonna say, hey, if you've got a type, play it. And that's the actor's type. That's the type he plays most of the time.
Yeah, I don't think much of him right now, but I know the writers of this show, and Gilligan especially, just love messing with our expectations.
Yeah.
Can I ask Matt a quick
Good
question?
point.
Does that mean on your next show you will also be in a courtroom on trial for joining the Mile High Club?
No, but in real life maybe.
For those that don't know, for those watching, what David's making reference to is that our co-host Matt Moore was an extra on the TNT show Franklin Bash. What was that, like a month ago it aired? Something like that?
2 months ago.
Yeah, it would have been about 2 months ago because the season is ended already, and it was episode 5.
Okay, yeah, so it was about 2 months ago, and him and his wife on the show were in trouble for apparently joining the Mile High Club.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
And the defense was that the bathroom was too small for us chubby folks to do that.
Better call Saul.
But I was told specifically by the producers that we actually
You
did
must
it.
have quit.
Dude, I was going to say that. Yeah, but it was a great episode. It's like I thought it was like Matt didn't really speak. He just kind of just sat there behind the defense table,
Looking very ashamed.
Some shit.
Yeah.
It's like I was like, if you're looking at the Geeks Around page on Google Plus, I'll repost it later. I posted it at the time, but I'll repost it. So
You have posted it like 3 times more than I have.
But I've only posted it twice.
That means he's posted it 2/3 of the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to have posted it 3 times as much as you have.
But in any case, back to the show.
Right.
What was that show again? Breaking,
Oh yeah, I guess we should probably talk about Breaking Bad now.
Breaking Boys.
Or something.
Bowling Bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am bad at bowling.
The Price is Right.
I'm great at Wii bowling.
Well, I think we've touched on everything except for we touched a little bit on the final scene.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, we kind of went into that as like we know as like now the thing is like at that point you have at the ending scene you have Hank finding the poetry book that Gail of all people. I was like, I can't believe that came up again. That Gail had given to Walter. And then it's like, in Hank's mind, he's going back to the WW that he saw in Gail's lab notebook, and boom, he had his Gregory House moment, and kind of put that piece of the puzzle together. Because I was always curious, is like, I mean, I felt that Walt was only going to be able to maintain being in Hank's blind spot for so long, and that time is absolutely over now.
Oh yeah.
There's a few times that Walter told Hank that he was doing that he had money. Like one time when he had that heavy suitcase, he told him it was money, full of money. Hank didn't believe him. He told, "Hey, you got me on the book." Hank didn't believe him. So Hank Walter threw him some bones. He just didn't take. Now he's gonna see everything.
Uh-huh. So
Thankfully, there's not a lot to see, though, because Walt hopefully is done.
Well, yeah, it's like, I mean, there's still the matter of all the deaths and whatnot, and most of the bodies are gotten rid of and sorted out, but there's like, I mean, there's still a trail to follow if somebody's determined enough, and I'm pretty sure that Hank is determined enough.
Yes.
Do you think one of the first things Hank is going to do is check his office for bugs, which are no longer there?
It would make the most sense. It depends on where they start off the next season. It's like, we got 8 more episodes left.
No.
8 months.
Yeah, we got 10 months before they start. Fuck, dude. But
That's not fair.
Just have to watch all the seasons over and over again.
yeah, small condolences.
They did add the 4th season of Netflix.
Yep.
Right on for that. So it's like, I mean, just picking things up is like for episode 509 that we're not gonna know about for 10 months. Jesus Christ. But where do we go from here? It's like, I mean, Hank knows.
Okay, so I guess we're in super speculation power mode activated. So, okay, so I was watching Now, correct me if the group didn't already come to this consensus, but I was watching the beginning of 501 earlier today, and it just dawned on me that in the the little future view there, he wasn't in New Hampshire. He was coming from New Hampshire, my understanding, back to New Mexico.
Yep.
Maybe he wasn't even coming from New Hampshire. Maybe he just jacked a car with New Hampshire plates and killed people.
We're not sure
Oh, no.
exactly, but it's definitely a desert area from what we saw outside. It could be Arizona from where those other guys are.
California.
It's doubtful.
Somewhere Midwest.
Now, given I'm also throwing in the from the Insider podcast there, they said that was the same Denny's that they always use. So
Yeah.
it's kind of tainting my thought. But when I originally saw the episode, I was thinking, oh, he's in New Hampshire or whatever.
Well, the show is shot in New Mexico.
Yeah.
So
So my thought process here is, so I'm thinking, just crazy, wild speculation, but going from the little future view, and now we know, Hank, has got an idea on his wall, but obviously, he doesn't catch him within the next whatever, 6 months or whatever, because here's Walt at his birthday. Now I'm thinking that one either Hank gets off somehow, or maybe possibly that he helps Walt at some point to kind of not get caught. Maybe Hank's like, hey, I figured it out, great, but
Why would Hank be that altruistic, though? Like, if I were him, I would be just furious at myself and at Walt.
Yep.
Well, I
He
still
would do
think
it if Walt somehow had him over a barrel.
it's going to happen that Hank's going to talk to Marie. Marie's going to say something about where the money came from, and then now he is over the barrel.
yeah.
Is there any chance whatsoever that Hank is going to help Walt?
I think.
I
Not-
highly doubt that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's maybe one of the reasons why Walt isn't busted by his 52nd birthday. I kind of have the thought that since Walt is now out of the game, I'm thinking that one, that's gonna piss off Lydia and her group, and then the other drug dealers or whatever. Now they're all they've got their panties in a bunch, and I'm thinking that now that Hank kind of knows what's going on, I think that probably his investigation is going to start getting everybody on Hank's back, or not Hank, Walt's back, and that's going to kind of, my other speculation is I'm thinking that from the dust that Hank kicks up, that's probably going to get Skylar killed, because they've kind of made this whole thing about she does the whole bacon birthday ritual, and now Walt's just kind of by his lonesome kind of doing it. So I'm thinking kind of out of oh shit, all this stuff that I've done is now got her waxed. Probably even more people, maybe even kind of my thought that maybe even Hank gets killed is Hank kicks up all this dust, gets everybody killed, and now Walt's just kind of left to
Well,
try
what about the kids?
everything right.
I can definitely. I've been entertaining the idea that Hank's gonna get killed, but I'm wondering where the kids are gonna all fit in this, especially if Skylar dies.
I think Walt has enough money to afford to disappear now.
Well,
No,
I think that's what happened. I think that's why he was in New Hampshire. Hank kicks up the dust. Shit just gets real, and then
And then someone turns off your light.
so, See, I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. See what happens when you tell the truth? They cut off your lights. No, but I think stuff gets really bad for Hank. So Hank, or why do I keep saying Hank? Walt has to put in a call to Sal knows a guy that can make you disappear. So I think a big chunk of that stack of cash goes to making Walt disappear. Whether or not it's before or after family gets killed. But it's like, hey, I got to get out of here. He gets out of town.
Building off of that. So building off of that, like you said, there's, like he might have to disappear because people might start getting killed. It's like, well, look what happened to Tuco. Like, Walt wanted to take over him, so he brought the fight to Tuco. Well, if Walt's trying to get out of the game, there's people who want his recipe, who want to know who, get everything from him they can. Are they going to come after him because now they know what he looks like? They've seen him face to face.
Yeah, well, see, I think even though they've seen him, they still don't, well, I mean, other than like, even Lydia, I mean, she knows his name's Walt and stuff, but I don't think anybody outside of their, the little tight-knit group there, really knows all of the details of Walter White, former chemistry teacher, and so I think,
But that's not hard to figure out.
Yeah, the skinheads know.
They're so not looking at that. They're not, the other people are not looking at that angle, and then once Hank starts nosing around and stuff and trying to kind of piece more things together, I think that is going to alert everyone else, and then they're gonna come.
I think it was Saul who spent 3 hours on the internet and found out everything they need to know about Walter White.
It was actually Mike. That was Mike before we met Mike, but Saul just called him my PI. That was Mike.
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, Mike can figure out pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I hope, against hope, that Walter will come up again with an awesome trick like he did against Tuco with the fulminated mercury. I haven't seen anything really bonkers like that, where he just sort of comes out of the blue and says, surprise, kaboom, and does something like that. Like, he shot Mike, yeah, but that's just with a gun. Like, I was hoping to use chemistry.
That's why I'm thinking the machine gun, the M60 is gonna be used for something, Mr. Wizard style, and
fulminated mercury bullets.
Ooh.
That would be extremely dangerous. I promise you that.
Just a little, okay, maybe a lot bit. Maybe, yeah. It was like come hell or high water. Is like things are going to be very, very interesting as we go into the final 8. It's going to be really sad, I think, to see this show go. But I'm glad they're going out on their own terms, and they've got this to go ahead and tell.
They're not going to jump the shark.
Yeah. Hey, that'll be it. It's like maybe it'll be like a Shark Tank or something like that.
What they should do is name the last episode "Jumping the Shark" or something.
Knowing Vince Gilligan, is like, I mean, if you've listened to the Insider podcast, like I know Reggie has, it's like Vince Gilligan's a little bit of a nut, so it wouldn't really be surprising to see something like that happen.
It's gonna be the end, bitches.
Jesse and Walt stand there with their arms crossed,
I was going to say, what if the 501 refers to something that does not happen at the end of the series, but the beginning of the second half?
Possible.
That's a lot of plot holes left open if that's the case.
That's a big time jump.
No. It's like, I mean, shows have jumped ahead like that before. It's not entirely unusual. I mean, it's a little...
This show just did it in this episode.
Do you think Hank is really going to kind of sit on this newfound knowledge for 6 months?
No.
They can montage it.
If I were Hank, I would just go and take Walt down right then and there. But
he doesn't have any proof right now. All he has is a gut feeling.
Yeah.
Well,
I was thinking about it because, we know for the purposes of narrative, Hank has to make the slow play. But if Hank did leave that bathroom with the book in hand and said, Walt, who the hell is GB? You think Walt would be able to come up with a plausible lie right there on the spot?
Yes.
I picked it up at a yard sale.
I feel like Walt really hasn't been at the top of his game. He's Jesse's the one who's been coming up with all the great plots, and Walt seems to just sort of be like caught in the current and unable to really take control and have those really great ideas that he was really known for. Like, he hasn't really done anything beyond the pest control business.
The only thing he's been doing is manipulation.
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of manipulation this season. But as far as big ideas, not this season.
Yeah, but the manipulation is kind of the name of his game.
I was going to say, Hank really does have some pretty strong evidence, though, because he still has the diary, right? Which means he's got the writing samples.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I mean,
You can
boom,
prove that's
right
his
there,
handwriting.
enough to arrest him.
Circumstantial.
The diaries were Gail's writings. They weren't Hank's or Walt's.
Yeah, but
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, it's like, I mean, because the poetry book was too, but that's still circumstantial. It's like, yes, it's like, well, here in the diaries he refers to WW, and here in this book he refers to WW. They're still,
But why
It's
would
talking
Walt
about
have
handwriting.
Gail Bedecker?
yeah, that's still circumstantial.
Walt would have to explain why he has a book signed to him by Gail Bottcher, who he said he didn't know.
Fellow chemists, like, I mean, there's a million ways to explain
But he
that.
denied knowing him, like, outright.
Yeah,
Right, but
But it's like-
having a book that has WW and GB in it, how can you?
he doesn't have to prove not knowing him. It's like the police would have to. It's like the DEA. It's like they would have to prove his involvement in the thing. Him getting a poetry book does not automatically implicate him. It's like they'd have to have him at the scene or have some sort of evidence linking him directly to the meth. They don't have it. A poetry book, you guys really think that stand up in court? Honestly? Oh, yeah, well, we have this poetry book that the chemist gave him. Look at it's signed, and he gave it to him. That obviously means he's
It
involved.
also says it was an honor working with Walt. So Walt would have to produce some kind of project the two of them worked on that isn't a meth lab.
He wouldn't have to produce any project. It's like the guy knew me. It's like, I mean, come on, dude. It's like Walter White was like this famous chemist, a part of the co-founders of $1 billion company.
I was going to say is that while it is not proof, it is not while it would not be what convicts him solely on that, it would still be enough to hold him.
Yeah.
It's enough to hold him, but then it's like, where's the rest of the evidence going to come from? It's like, even with that much of a hold, it's like you got, what, 72 hours to prove the rest of your case before you got to cut him loose?
Yeah, no, Hank
I don't think Hank's gonna act on that.
gotta play it. He's got to play it safe. He's not gonna try and take down Walt without buttloads of evidence. So
The other thing,
this just gets the ball rolling, and now he's gonna take his time and get everything he needs because once again it's Walt or Hank versus the blue meth. All of his little cohorts and stuff. They're not gonna back him up unless he's got loads of evidence.
Actually, they told him just to drop the case.
Yeah. So that's even more why he can't just go and say, oh hey, this is the guy.
well, plus there's the whole factor of he's not going to come out and admit that all of a sudden, after a year of investigation, now he suspects somebody who's actually been in his inner circle the whole time.
Yeah.
He wants to have his case open and shut before he tells anybody, or else it reflects really poorly on him.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Like, I mean, there's a lot more that we could say here, but it's like, I think it's like we're running over an hour right now. It's like, I think it's about time we cut this. We will absolutely be back next year for the final 8 of Breaking Bad right here on Geeks and Around. In the meantime, let's go ahead and plug. It's like we'll have. It's like our next season coming up. It's like I'm thinking about doing a Revolution season for NBC's Revolution. We'll see how that goes, depending on interest. But what's definitely happening is that the man Matt Moore will be behind. It's like he's going to be running this thing. He's going to be running the 12-episode Dexter series for the penultimate season of that coming up soon. It's like, when does the next season of Dexter start, Matt?
September 30th.
All right, so it's like around about October. It's like we'll start seeing those things kicking off. And speaking of October, it's like Matt will be handling Dexter. I think I'll go ahead and handle The Walking Dead. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. We'll have the Walking Dexter running pretty much concurrently. It'll be a lot of fun. We hope to see you guys back here then. You can always find us on our Google Plus page, our official home at gplus.to/GOTR. And until next time, people, we are Ghosts.